Hi guys, John the firearms instructor, and we're covering the 4 mistakes I see most people do when I'm in the back here watching people shoot that's killing their accuracy. And this is a good overall video that will improve your accuracy to a point where you may not need a firearms instructor. I hope not. I hope everyone takes training. The tips I'm going to give you today are the ones I see most people are very commonly are making. So one of the biggest things that most people, when I walk back here, I've seen them doing is have some crazy grips on the pistol. We teach here the 2-thumb forward grip, and I'm going to demonstrate with this dummy gun. So I may point this weapon at the camera a couple times today, guys, but this is a plastic pistol. There is no rounds in it. This is a cold environment at this point in time. We're doing these videos after work. So this is a closed set, and we're going to be pointing this weapon at different places. And I just want you to make sure you understand that we would never do this with a live pistol. All right. So first off, we're going to talk about how to properly grip this pistol. And if you look right off the bat, where's my trigger finger going? Right there. So we what I teach in class is the 1, 2, 3, 4 method. And the 1, 2, 3, 4 method helps people understand how am I controlling the weapon. And if we start out on our dominant hand, doesn't matter if you're right or left, it still works the same. Number 1 is always the trigger finger. Number 2 is the thumb. Number 3 is the other thumb. Now we're going to stack this other thumb directly in line with the other thumb. And number 4 are these 4 fingers right here. And we're going to grab the pistol. This is the proper grip. It's called a combat grip or 2 thumbs grip. And it allows you to control the weapon properly. Here's where it becomes a little tricky though. People who are right-handed tend to over-torque with their right hand, and that's one of the other common mistakes people make. So we want all of our strength, all of our power to come from our non-dominant hand. So we lay that in there, bring the thumbs together, and wrap them. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is your proper grip. If you're not gripping the gun like this, high on the tang and in line with the weapon, you're not doing it right. So I see thumbs down, I see thumbs over, I see a lot of different stuff. All these things that you're doing, if you're not touching the gun with this hand, how are you controlling the weapon with this hand? The 1, 2, 3, 4 gives you the proper grip and gives you the proper control. So I'm going to set the weapon down, and I'm going to show it to you without a weapon in my hand. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. We're going to close my hand on the imaginary pistol. I'm going to close those 3 fingers. Then I'm going to wrap these 4 fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you look, picking the plastic pistol back up, I'm indexing towards the target, guys. This trigger finger and these thumbs are indexing towards the target. This is your proper grip. This is the number 1 thing I think people do in the range that kills their accuracy. All right, we're going to go to number 2. So the second thing that's killing most people's accuracy is the aiming point of the weapon. A lot of people can't get the concept of what they have to do. It doesn't matter if it's a Glock or a Smith or a Ruger or a Taurus. They all have some kind of sighting system on there. And too many people are focusing on the front post versus the whole sight system. Remember, there's only one sight on the weapon, but the two options make one sight, if that makes sense. Your front post is not a sight without your back post, and your back post is not a sight without your front post. But what most people are thinking, that bullet flies in a straight line. It doesn't, it flies in an arc. And we got to get a consistent point of aim before we're able to become accurate with a pistol. So what we try to do, and I try to teach all my students, is you've heard me say this before about the 6 o'clock hold, but if you look at this target base here, if I was aiming at that 7, the top 7 there, which is in the X there, I would not aim at the X, because if I put my barrel on that X, my sights are above the barrel to begin with. So I need to visually see the target to engage the target. If I take the gun, the weapon, and put the barrel on the X, on the 7, my sights will be above the 7. So I want to make sure that I realize that bullet rises up. So I'm going to bring it the bottom of the 7, so that if I put that box there, that's where I'm going to aim my weapon at a 6 o'clock hold, and that weapon will impact in the 7 itself. Now, obviously, as we get further out, we may have to adjust this, but in combat distances of 21 feet and less, all that stuff goes out the window in a sighting situation, so we're only focused on the front post. But one of the magic things that I see most people do is they use their wrist instead of their waist. So think about truly looking at the target, visualizing your bullet hitting the target, and keeping the weapon level will make all the difference in the world. That's the number 2 thing that's killing your accuracy, is sight alignment. So the third thing that's killing your accuracy is trigger. Most people are engaging the trigger with a pull, pulling it down or putting too much finger in the gun itself. And these 2 common things make the gun go low and to left or up and down. They're pulling the trigger versus pressing the trigger. And if I could give you a definition of the 2, it's like if you were to slowly apply pressure to something until the weapon or the weapon fires versus just snapping the trigger, snapping it back. So I'm going to demonstrate with the plastic gun again. I'm going to point it here to show you that pull down that happens. And then I'm going to point the weapon at the camera itself there, and I'm going to show you the left engagement as well. So what tends to happen is that when someone puts their finger, they put it all the way in the gun, and then when they go to pull the trigger, they pull, 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 pull. And if that gun dips that way, that bullet's going to dip that way. And we need to make sure we realize that if we pull a trigger, we're pulling the weapon, versus if we press the trigger. Now here I'm going to engage a small press, a small press, a small press. And see how the gun stays level? Again, level gun shoots level. Now, we're going to run this weapon this direction, and I'm going to get you to think about when you pull the trigger. I'm going to try to stick my finger all the way in this gun, and I'm going to apply pressure. Do you see that? See how that gun is dipping? By just applying pressure with the trigger to the weapon. It's pulling off. Now, imagine pushing and pulling. This is what most people are doing with a pistol. Now let's try to do it right. Let's go ahead and get more grip with this hand. Tighten up our grip. Press the trigger back. I'm applying pressure, and the gun is staying still. That's what we want to do more than pull or press. We want to just slowly engage the trigger until it fires. Remember, guys, a proper shot should be a surprise to you. All right, we're going to go to the fourth thing. So the last mistake most people make with a firearm, we talk about torking. And torking with a firearm is really the easiest one to fix. I want you to get your head around what controls the weapon. We talked earlier about how we're going to use our 3 fingers and our 4 fingers and our thumbs together. So we're going to grab the weapon again, but I want to kind of give you a concept of how much pressure each hand is going to do. Most students who are right-handed want to really grab that gun with their right hand, but technically, if you just think about the math itself, 3 fingers versus 4 fingers, the 4 fingers are going to control the weapon a lot better than the 3 fingers. So let's go ahead and bring this weapon to my hand. I'm going to grab it here. So a lot of times people talk about percentages, how much you should control the weapon and everything else like that. But I will tell you, in my opinion, if we were to grab the weapon here, these 3 fingers are holding on to the weapon. These 4 fingers are controlling the weapon. If you're at the range and right-handed and you're over gripping with your right hand, it causes a lot of torquing. What we want to think about is I'm going to control the weapon, I'm going to hold the weapon. So these 3 fingers are going to grab a hold, and I'm going to grab twice as hard with this hand as I am with this hand. And then as I grab a hold of that weapon, I'm going to level out my grip, slowly engage the trigger, and keep the gun from doing what it is. If you're really pushing with your thumbs on the slide, that's called thumbing. If you're really pushing back like this with your hand, that's called palming. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with a pistol with your dominant hand. I want you, next time you're here, I want you to try to use mostly your non-dominant hand to control the weapon, and this will truly improve your accuracy. So there you have it, the 4 most common mistakes that I see. Now, there are tons of mistakes people make with a firearm, and I make them myself as well. But I can tell you this, guys, you try to improve these 4 things, it will improve your accuracy. If you'd like to learn more or take a class, we'd love to have you. We're at 918 Southeast 14th Avenue in beautiful Cape Coral, Florida. We're off the industrial park off Vizcaya. Until next time, God bless, be safe, and remember, you are your first line of defense. Improve your accuracy. If you like what you saw in this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Please hit the bell icon to get more videos just like this when we upload them. If you know a friend or family that likes it, I would recommend you send it to them. God bless, be safe, remember, you are your first line of defense.